In what way? Lu Wuchang couldn't help but interrupt. Zhao Fengxian turned around and glanced at him. Lu Wuchang shuddered and took 2 steps back with a sheepish smile. The dragon-slaying platform has a memory. Zhao Fengxian retracted his gaze and said in a deep voice, although it's an inanimate object, it attacks all life that enters it indiscriminately. Remember, life. Therefore, all sentient beings can pass. And the dragon-slaying platform's attacks aren't endless. It also needs to be maintained with energy. According to what I know, for a certain period of time, the dragon-slaying platform will only carry out a limited number of attacks when facing sentient life forms of the same species. It means that the 9 of us can enter in batches, but only the first 3, 4, or 5 will be attacked. For those who enter later, the dragon-slaying platform would have remembered the life force of the human species and choose to ignore them. Huh? Lu Wuchang was shocked. Bu Qin, Pu Mingyue, and the others were also stunned. So the famous dragon-slaying platform only targeted the first few people in. Those who entered subsequently would simply be ignored. This way, the people who entered first would be in great danger. One wrong move and they would lose their lives. But there would be no threat for those who go later. Then who's going in first? Lu Wuchang exhaled and scanned everyone present with flickering eyes. Great General Zhao, no matter who enters first, it's not a solution, is it? Pu Mingyue said with a smile. That's right. Su Jingxing raised his eyebrows and looked at Zhao Fengxian. Great General Zhao had only told everyone what was going on with the dragon-slaying platform. The main problem was the loophole with the dragon-slaying platform. Against the same sentient species, the dragon-slaying platform wouldn't attack endlessly. It would only target the first few or a dozen people who entered first. This was not a solution. Haha. Zhao Fengxian smiled brightly. Don't worry, Head Pu. I haven't come to the solution yet. Since we know the characteristics of the dragon-slaying platform, we just need to find a few animals of similar physique and drive them in. Wouldn't that do? Animals? Asked Lu Wuchang, puzzled. Yes. Zhao Fengxian explained, find a few large monkeys and get them to scout the way for us. When the dragon-slaying platform stops attacking the monkeys, we'll extract their blood to cover our bodies. Then, we can enter and pass through successfully. So that's it. That's right, those with similar physiques to humans were definitely monkeys. There were also many monkeys in the Green Cloud Mountain range. Capture a dozen of them to be the vanguard leading the way would perfectly dispel the threat. This method was indeed very simple. Of course, the prerequisite was knowing the loophole of the dragon-slaying platform. Zhao Fengxian only knew because he had experienced it once. If no one else had encountered it, how could they know? If Zhao Fengxian had not come with them during this search for the legacy underground palace, after discovering dragon-slaying platform, they would either brace themselves, take a huge risk and charge in directly, enduring as long as they could. Or they could retreat and return to the surface. As for destroying the dragon-slaying platform, putting aside that was impossible, even if it was possible, they couldn't do that. This was because if the dragon-slaying platform was destroyed, there was a high chance that the underground palace would collapse along with it. If the underground palace was gone, what kind of martial sage legacy would there be left? Therefore, even though Zhao Fengxian's words seemed like nothing, they had resolved a huge problem. If it weren't for the fact that Su Jingxing, Li Jing, was the only person present whom Zhao Fengxian was seeing for the first time, and that he knew everyone else, he wouldn't have shared this piece of information on the loophole. If news that dragon-slaying platform had a limited number of attacks got out, it would only benefit others. Firstly, there were very few dragon-slaying platforms. Secondly, since it concerned the legacy of the martial sage, Zhao Fengxian couldn't care less. That was why he directly provided a solution. Now that the solution was out, the rest was much simpler. Gu Zhanlin obeyed and returned the way he came. He found the others who had stayed on the surface and were unable to enter the second level of the underground palace. He got a group of 4th grade and 5th grade martial artists to head to the woods around the valley to capture monkeys that had similar physiques to the 9 of them. 30 to 40 monkeys would be a good number. In less than half an hour, they were done. These captured monkeys were called cannibal monkeys. As the name suggested, they liked to eat humans and were tyrants in the Green Cloud Mountain range. Even though the fights between groups were fierce, they were tall and strong. Once a lone herb collector or injured martial artist was discovered by them, they would rarely be able to escape. The people who captured them were also venting their anger. It was a good opportunity to get rid of evil for the people. Dozens of monkeys were tied up with ropes. Gu Zhanlin released his true energy and wrapped them up. He floated them in the air and brought them back to the 3rd level of the underground palace, at the entrance to the dragon-slaying platform. Then, in batches, the monkeys were driven into the passageway of the dragon-slaying platform in batches. PLKCH. 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 The dark-skinned, ferocious-looking, and bloodthirsty cannibal monkeys were dismembered in less than 3 seconds after entering the passageway. PLKCH. 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 The second cannibal monkey was quickly dismembered. PLKCH. PLKCH. The third monkey. The fourth. The fifth. One at a time. Soon, 10 cannibal monkeys were dismembered in the passageway. The remaining cannibal monkeys peed their pants. It wasn't a metaphor, they really lost control. None of them dared to bare their fangs and snarl with ferocious expressions anymore. Instead, they curled up on the ground and tried to run out. However, they were tightly restrained by true energy and released both feces and urine. Pu Mingyue, Bu Qing, and the others frowned in confusion. Impossible. Zhao Fengxian said in a low voice, the attack of the dragon-slaying platform cannot be endless. There must be a limit to it. Continue to release the cannibal monkeys. If 10 isn't enough, then 20. Got it, replied Gu Zhanlin. He wrapped his true energy around a cannibal monkey who was paralyzed with fear and threw it into the passageway. Aw. PLKCH. 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 The crescent blades danced in the air, and the cannibal monkey was dismembered. Gu Zhanlin continued to grab another monkey and threw it into the passageway. PLKCH. PLKCH. Another one. Another one. When the 18th monkey was dismembered, and the 19th cannibal monkey was thrown into the corridor, the terrifying crescent blades suddenly stopped dancing and stopped shooting out. It worked. Zhao Fengxian looked at the cannibal monkey lying in a pool of blood in the corridor like mud and let out a breath. Seeing this, the others also relaxed. 18 cannibal monkeys. It actually attacked 18 times before stopping. If they didn't send in these vanguards, all 9 of them would be attacked when they entered. Finally done. Lu Wuchang sighed. Next, we'll extract monkey blood, right? I'll go first. With that, he rubbed his hands and walked towards a cannibal monkey. No one would pity the cannibal monkey. Such monkeys were savage and bloodthirsty. They loved to secretly eat children and other animal cubs. Soon. After collecting the monkey blood, the 9 of them controlled it using their true energy to stick close and cover their entire bodies as they entered the passageway. The entire process involved Su Jingxing, Pu Mingyue, and Bu Qing, and the others, wrapped in monkey blood as they walked through the passageway that was paved with jade and piled with dismembered monkey corpses. After turning a corner, they encountered another turn. Before long, they turned another corner. When the 9 of them walked out of the passageway of the dragon-slaying platform, they had made 10 turns. Without these vanguards, even Zhao Fengxian could not guarantee that he would be able to successfully pass through using force. The journey was too long. Fortunately, they finally passed through it and found the entrance to the 4th level. What's going on with this level? Lu Wuchang, who had removed the monkey blood around him, stopped in his tracks. He looked at the 4th level where there were only a few thick stone pillars and no other structures and fell into deep thought. The first 3 levels each had a central hall. But not the 4th level. The entire space was still spacious and quiet. Except for the 9 thick stone pillars that stood at intervals. There were no carvings on the stone pillars, nor were there any patterns on the ground or the dome. The entire 4th level was empty and very strange. Marshal Lu, don't you have very accurate intuition? Take a look at what's going on here, said Gu Zhanlin, raising his eyebrows at Lu Wuchang. Not a god. I won't know everything. Lu Wuchang replied irritably, everyone knows how strange this place is. If you people don't know, how would I? Other than Su Jingxing's 3rd grade realm that was to be confirmed, the others were indeed true top-ranked experts. The 100-Flower Valley had a long history, and Zhao Fengxian was a 1st grade great general. However, the 2 of them still couldn't see through this. They were filled with confusion about the 4th level. But what? Do speak, urged Gu Zhanlin. What's the hurry? Lu Wuchang rolled his eyes. But there's no danger here. No danger. Are you sure? Gu Zhanlin was suspicious. Why would I lie to you? Lu Wuchang raised his eyebrows and walked ahead. Under passive circumstances, Lu Wuchang knew best if there were any dangers within 100 meters. He was full of confidence in his abilities. Indeed. Lu Wuchang walked through covered most of the space of 4th level, but nothing happened. Gu Zhanlin and Fan Qi looked at each other. After consulting Zhao Fengxian, they followed behind and walked over. Su Jingxing, Pu Mingyue, Bu Qing, Huang Xinghai, Xia Zhilan, and the others were last. A group of 9 people walked through the silent 4th level. Until they entered the 5th level. Compared to the 4th level, the 5th level was even emptier. The thick stone pillars were gone, there was only a center area where light appeared. Silence, spacious, and empty. The group of 9 kept their guard up as they approached the center area. When they were close. 1,000-year great return remains discovered. Would you like to extract it? Yes. As he responded, Su Jingxing's eyes were filled with surprise. 1,000 years. The last time, Lu Chenglong's corpse was only 100 years old. This time, he actually encountered the 1,000-year-old one. Could it be? There's someone there. Lu Wuchang, who was walking in front, suddenly exclaimed. Bu Qing, Pu Mingyue, Gu Zhanlin, and the others moved very quickly. When they saw the target, their auras quickly spread and they got ready. In this empty space, a person sitting cross-legged appeared. No matter who it was, they were filled with uncertainty. Dead. Zhao Fengxian stared at it and said in a low voice, the other party is already dead, and he's in the state of returning to his original state. Returning to the original state referred to the state where true essence leaves the body and covers the physical body. It was a state where a body would not be broken, dissolved, or dispersed for thousands of years. Under this state, the physical body could be perfectly preserved, and the corpse-raising devil insect wouldn't be able to sense it. When they came close to the light they saw earlier, they found that it was indeed emitted by this 1,000-year-old corpse. A 1,000-year-old corpse had appeared on the 5th level. No matter how one looked at it, there was something wrong. He can't be the Crimson Moon martial sage, Yu Donglu, can he? Lu Wuchang stopped 20 meters away from the glowing old man sitting cross-legged on the ground. He was shocked. The reason why the old man was glowing was because his true essence was dissipating. After 1,000 years, his true essence had not dissipated completely. One could imagine how powerful the old man was when he was alive. An expert among such experts could only be in the transcendent grade. Yu Donglu. The Crimson Moon Martial Sage, Yu Donglu. There was a 99% chance that this old man was the Crimson Moon Martial Sage from 1,000 years ago, Yu Donglu. They couldn't be 100% sure because no one had seen Yu Donglio's appearance before. Yu Donglu had kept a low profile when he was alive, and no images were passed down. It had been 1,000 years since then. This place was also the legacy underground palace. Who else could the old man be other than Yu Donglu? As for the fact that even a martial sage would die, there was nothing surprising about this. Martial sages could at most live for 360 years. When the time was up, no matter how indignant one was, one had to die. Yet, if the old man was really Yu Donglu, then here's the question. Firstly, why was Yu Donglio's corpse here? Wasn't this the legacy underground palace? Why did Yu Donglu leave his own corpse here? He couldn't possibly be leaving it for the person who obtained the legacy to dig a hole and bury it, right? The corpse of a martial sage was extraordinary, but it was ultimately just a corpse. If he really wanted to be buried, wouldn't it be better to find a place where no one knew about? If he were to stay here and wait for someone to collect his corpse, wasn't he afraid that his corpse would be destroyed? Secondly, the fifth level was too strange. There were no stone pillars, no patterns, no strange paintings, nothing. Gu Zhanlin, Fan Qi, Lu Wuchang, and Bu Qing spread out and surveyed the entire space, but still found nothing. Not even the entrance to the sixth level. This meant that they had reached the end of the underground palace. There were only 5 levels. The 9 of them were currently at the bottommost level, the 5th level. However, apart from Yu Donglio's corpse, there was nothing else here. Treasures? Not a hair was seen. Not to mention, the Crimson Moon legacy. Fake. Back in the central area, Lu Wuchang murmured, "There's no legacy here at all. The so-called treasure left behind by a martial sage is just an empty palace." "That shouldn't be the case," Pu Mingyue muttered. "There's nothing wrong with the legacy stone tablets, and there's nothing wrong with the information passed down. It can't be fake. Don't tell me the legacy of the martial sage refers to the secrets in the 3 legacy stone tablets?" Gu Zhanlin asked in a low voice. "That's possible," said Huang Xinghai, rubbing his chin in thought. 3 legacy stone tablets? Xia Zhilan pondered. Su Jingxing said nothing. Within his perception range, there was something strange in the 5th level. It was an indescribable strangeness. It didn't seem like a deliberate misdirection where it was the oddity of a fake. Instead, it revealed a trace of strange, burning, and dangerous strangeness. Think. Watch out. Suddenly, Lu Wuchang, who was about to say something, shouted. Swish. Ard light flashed past. Something unexpected happened. A red vine pierced through the air, heading straight towards Zhao Fengxian. It was extremely fast and the angle was extremely tricky. Although Zhao Fengxian, who was caught off guard, was alarmed and moved immediately, his left arm was still penetrated. Pooh! Fresh blood spurted out. The corporeal red vine took root on his left arm and quickly sprouted. Red-brown spots spread up and down his arm. Roar! The furious Zhao Fengxian let out a low roar as the hammer in his hand smashed down fiercely, breaking the red vine. Then, his entire left arm bloomed with golden light, covering everything from his fingertips to his shoulders. Boom! Zhao Fengxian released his aura to the maximum. A terrifying might detonated the air, producing a visible shockwave that swept through the 5th level. Bang! 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 Everywhere it passed, dull explosions resounded. Half of them were released when Su Jingxing, Pu Mingyue, Bu Qing, and the others blocked the shockwave. Half of it when a silvery white energy barrier centered around Yu Donglio's body with a radius of 10 meters suddenly appeared and blocked the shockwave. The two collided and produced a series of loud bangs. At the same time, a huge round moon emerged from the top of Yu Donglio's head and floated in midair, illuminating most of the underground space as if it was daytime. Zhao Fengxian, who was brandishing his martial art true intent hammer, and Xia Zhilan, who was controlling her red vines to block and retreat, were clearly exposed under the silver moonlight. As the crowd watched in shock, disbelief covered their faces. Xia Zhilan, the person who had ambushed Zhao Fengxian, striking his heart with the martial art true intent of the red vines and only hitting his left arm because he dodged in time, was actually Xia Zhilan. Didn't the Crimson Moon martial sage not leave behind any legacy? There were no treasures either. Why was Xia Zhilan ambushing Zhao Fengxian now? Is there a grudge between them? Murmured Lu Wuchang. As he spoke, he subconsciously moved away from Pu Mingyue. Previously, Pu Mingyue and Xia Zhilan seemed like they were as close as sisters. Who knew if Pu Mingyue would suddenly go crazy after Xia Zhilan's surprise attack? Pu Mingyue naturally knew this. With a cold expression, she gritted her teeth and said, "I have nothing to do with her." "That's for the best." Gu Zhanlin shouted coldly, "Old fan, keep an eye on her. I'll go help the general." With that, Gu Zhanlin charged towards Zhao Fengxian and Xia Zhilan at lightning speed. Even though Zhao Fengxian, who had lost the use of an arm, still had Xia Zhilan retreating, he couldn't kill her immediately. This was Xia Zhilan's red vines were poisonous. At this moment, the poison was constantly corroding his left arm and leaving his shoulder to rush towards his neck. Half of Zhao Fengxian's energy was channeled into circulating his true essence. He focused his attention and gathered his soul power to resist the poison. That's right, the red vine poison also had the ability to corrode the soul. No one knew this trait before. Zhao Fengxian had known Xia Zhilan for more than 10 years, and he had never thought that she would attack him. Because of this, Zhao Fengxian was filled with rage. The martial art true intent hammer swung harder and harder each time. However, he couldn't use his full strength. Coupled with Xia Zhilan's agile and elegant movement technique, she dodged again and again. Gu Zhanlin chased over and blocked Xia Zhilan's escape route. Roar! The gray leopard grew bigger. With a roar, it released its pressure and enveloped Xia Zhilan, pinning her to the ground. Die! Zhao Fengxian growled and leaped up. The martial art true intent hammer in his hand smashed towards Xia Zhilan's head. Buzz! The air trembled. Swoosh! 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 The sound of rushing wind suddenly sounded. Swish! A mental arrow pierced through the air and attacked Zhao Fengxian, who was smashing down with his hammer. The cold killing intent carried an eerie chill. Just by approaching, one could not help but shiver. Even someone as powerful as Zhao Fengxian was forced to change the target of the hammer in his hand. With a turn, his hammer moved upward. It left Xia Zhilan's head and ruthlessly smashed the mental arrow that had come close. Bam! Amidst the thunderous explosion, a ball of white light bloomed in the air. An invisible but substantial mental shockwave pushed Zhao Fengxian backward. Gu Zhanlin, who had pinned Xia Zhilan down, had no choice but to ride his gray leopard and dodge quickly. Swish! Swish! The sound of rushing wind approached. More than 10 black-robed figures arrived beside Xia Zhilan and gathered together. They escorted a tall and thin man towards the center. "Haha, we have troubled all of you to scout the way for us. Now that the mission is completed, you can go home. We will personally visit and thank you for this great favor in a while." As the lanky man spoke, he approached Yu Donglio's body. "Stop right there." Riding on the gray leopard, Gu Zhanlin blocked the way and shouted, "Who are you people?" Zhao Fengxian said nothing. He only stared at the thin man with a solemn expression. Among this group of people, only the tall and thin man gave him a faint sense of threat. First grade. The tall and thin man was a first-grade martial artist. There were more than 10 people following behind him. Even though their auras were different, their suppression was not weak. All of them were experts in the top ranks. They were either in the second grade or third grade. With a first-grade martial artist as the leader, and a dozen others in the top ranks. How could ordinary factions possess such strength? Ghost Ride? Fan Chi's gaze flickered as he stared at a tall figure beside Xiaojilan. He shouted in a low voice, "General, they're from Ghost Ride." Ghost Ride? Last Xia joined the Ghost Ride organization. Huang Xinghai's face darkened. Pu Mingyue's expression was also ugly. I didn't expect you to join Ghost Ride, Lon Lon. Xia Zhilan was expressionless as she ignored Huang Xinghai and Pu Mingyue's comments. Bu Qin gripped his spear tightly and stared fixedly at a short and fat figure. I knew the Ghost Ride wouldn't be willing to wait. Lu Wuchang cursed softly. He moved his feet and approached Pu Mingyue and Huang Xinghai. The moment Ghost Ride's members arrived, the 9 of them. No, the 8 of them had subconsciously gathered together to confront the dozen or so people on Ghost Ride's side. When competing for the martial sage's legacy, they were rivals. However, when facing a powerful enemy, they instinctively teamed up. Su Jingxing's heart tensed up immediately and he stood ready. Ghost Ride had mobilized a dozen people in the top ranks, and they were led by a first-grade martial artist. Their motives were clearly not simple. Xia Zhilan's sneak attack on Zhao Fengxian was clearly to reduce their risk. The legacy is fake. What are you doing here? Zhao Fengxian warned in a low voice. Fake. Of course it's fake. The tall and thin man laughed heartily. Because Yu Donglu did not leave behind any legacy at all. The so-called legacy stone tablets are only 3 keys, the key to opening the underground palace. You all have helped us greatly by successfully opening and entering this place. To express my gratitude, I sincerely urge my friends to leave quickly and hide as far away as possible. If you don't leave now, stay. Stay here forever. What are you doing? Growled Zhao Fengxian. No one was a fool. Given the lanky man's words, there was clearly a problem. A big problem. Leave. Could it be? Zhao Fengxian's heart sank. Do you know what's going on here? Huang Xinghai asked on his behalf. Of course. The tall and thin man chuckled. What Yu Donglu left behind back then wasn't a legacy or any powerful treasure. What is it then? Gu Zhanlin growled. You don't need to know what it is. The lanky man's hawk-like gaze swept across Su Jingxing, Bu Qing, and the rest. He smiled and said, I've said all that I need to say. Now, it's time for you to make a decision. Are you going to leave or not? TM leaving. A glint flashed across Huang Xinghai's eyes. His figure moved, rushing towards the entrance they had come from. What you want to do has nothing to do with me. Excellent. The tall and thin man clapped lightly and scanned the remaining people. What about you guys? Pu Mingyue did not move. Bu Qin didn't move either. Nor did Lu Wuchang. Gu Zhanlin and Fan Chi followed Zhao Fengxian's lead. Since Zhao Fengxian hadn't moved, they naturally wouldn't leave. Seeing this, Su Jingxing remained where he was and kept silent. This was clearly not a legacy ground, yet Ghost Ride had come. Furthermore, a dozen of their members came in one go. Clearly, they had ulterior motives. Su Jingxing wanted to see what they were up to. Huang Xinghai was afraid of death, so it was expected that he would leave early. None of the remaining 7 people left, giving Su Jingxing confidence. With 7 people joining forces, even if Zhao Fengxian was injured and could only use half of his strength, it would be enough to make the tall, thin man wary. After all, so far, no one had used any trump cards. Zhao Fengxian hated Xia Zhilan and wanted to use his, but using his killer move when he was poisoned would affect him and might cause too much trouble in the future. Similarly, the lanky man and company did not come to the underground palace to fight. They had their own clear goals. None of you are leaving, huh? In the silence, the tall and thin man broke the silence. His hawk-like gaze was cold. The corners of his lips remained curled up as he said with a smile, "Since you're not leaving, then stay. If you regret it later and can't leave, don't complain that I didn't warn everyone." With that, he waved his hand and ordered, "Tiger, Old Ma, Buffalo. The few of you, stay here and keep our friends company. The rest of you, get to work." Swish. 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 As soon as the lanky man finished his sentence, the dozen or so people behind and beside him quickly split into two groups. One group moved towards Su Jingxing, Lu Wuchang, and the others, while the other pounced towards Yudonglio's body. Hu. Swish. Clang. Saber energy, sword energy, long whips, staff shadows, giant axes, tiger claws. The true energy transformed from true essence carried all kinds of attacks and landed on the energy barrier that surrounded Yudonglio's body. Bang! 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 Boom! Thunderous explosions echoed non-stop. All sorts of lethal moves, accompanied with martial art true intents, collided madly with the energy barrier. A chaotic force burst forth and shot everywhere. The materialized shockwaves swept through the underground space again and again. Everywhere they passed, the ground cracked, dust flew, and rocks were thrown into the air. The tall and thin man in the lead manifested his martial art true intent, a saber with a long handle, and slashed at the floating full moon. Bam! 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 Whoosh! Energy surged and light shot out. With every slash by tall and thin man, the full moon, the martial art true intent that had separated from Yu Donglu when he was alive would tremble a little, and the dazzling barrier would dim a little. Thump. Whoosh. Thump. Whoosh. What are they doing? Do they want Yu Donglio's corpse? Gu Zhanlin frowned and muttered. What treasures are on Yu Donglio's corpse? Echoed Fan Qi. If there is a treasure, given the frequency of their attacks, the treasure will also be damaged as they break the energy barrier, said Bu Qing in a low voice. No, said Lu Wuchang blankly. What's wrong? Pu Mingyue was puzzled. Lu Wuchang, what did your intuition sense? Zhao Fengxian turned his head and frowned at Lu Wuchang. There is indeed something wrong. Su Jingxing frowned slightly. Su Jingxing didn't know what Lu Wuchang sensed. However, due to his powerful soul power, Su Jingxing's intuition was also extraordinary. A martial artist's sixth sense was more outstanding than ordinary people. Such intuition was even more effective on Su Jingxing. Especially at this moment, as the Ghost Ride members were frantically attacking Yu Donglio's energy barrier and martial art true intent, an ominous feeling suddenly struck his heart. Danger! Lu Wuchang suddenly shouted, make them stop. We can't break the energy barrier. Swoosh! Bang! The 7 Ghost Ride members who were blocking in front of Su Jingxing and the others suddenly made their moves and pounced over. Bang! 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 Boom! Boom! 7 against 7, the two groups of people were engaged on the spot. True energy formed from true essence danced and wreaked havoc, slicing through the ground and leaving behind traces. The stirred air became chaotic, and the air waves that lifted condensed into a shock wave that swept through the underground space. You can't break the energy barrier. Lu Wuchang waved his fan and shouted anxiously, once the energy barrier is broken, there will be great danger. Great danger that will bring crises to Qinghe and the Changyang prefecture. Boom! 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 In his haste, he used all his strength and only took 3 moves to defeat the third-grade expert from Ghost Ride who had intercepted him. Then, with a flash, he pounced at the tall, thin man. Bang! Zhao Fengxian also sent a second-grade expert from Ghost Ride flying with a single hammer strike. Then, with a pale face, he rushed towards the tall and thin man. Boom! Su Jingxing mobilized 500 years of his true energy cultivation and executed the 100 steps raining fist, stacking more than 20 times of its power to meet the massive palm imprint of a third-grade expert of Ghost Ride head-on. In the end, with an explosion, the third-grade expert's palm imprint shattered and dissipated on the spot. Then, his entire arm burst into a bloody mist. With cracking sounds, his bones broke, and he couldn't help but retreat. In one breath, he retreated more than 10 meters before spitting out a mouthful of blood. He fell back and forcefully pulled himself forward. He squatted on the ground, his face pale. Swish! After defeating his opponent, Su Jingxing's figure flashed and charged at the thin man like Lu Wuchang and Zhao Fengxian. Swoosh! Ardvine pierced through the air and attacked Su Jingxing from the side. A cold and sinister aura locked onto Su Jingxing like a venomous snake revealing its cold fangs. Get lost! Su Jingxing shouted angrily. He mobilized 600 years of true energy cultivation and threw a punch. Roar! A silvery black fist imprint with a scorching aura condensed at lightning speed and collided with the red vine. With a strange sound, the red vine trembled before dissipating into nothingness. However, the silvery black fist imprint did not disappear. It continued to carry a terrifying fist aura as it swept towards Xiaojilan, who could not dodge in time. Bam! Energy surged. Ripples appeared on the surface of Xiaojilan's true essence. She, who had forcefully received this punch, swiftly retreated. When she stopped, her calves trembled slightly and a trace of blood flowed out from the corner of her mouth. Damn it! Xiaojilan growled. She raised her head tenaciously and her gaze as she looked at Su Jingxing was filled with shock and anger. This fellow. Who exactly is he? She basically knew all the top-ranked experts in the Chanyang prefecture. When did such a powerful third grade appear? Li Jing? Never heard of him before. This was most likely a fake name. Why was such a evasive fellow so terrifying? Looking at his strength, within the third grade, there were probably not many people who could match his punch. Damn it! Xiaojilan cursed inwardly. She moved his feet, but instead of going for Su Jingxing, she pounced at Bu Qing. Bu Qing was already injured. It was already good enough if he could hold back a Ghost Ride member in the same realm. When Xiaojilan pounced at him, he was immediately at a disadvantage. Her red vine pierced through his shoulder. Fortunately, Pu Mingyue came to his rescue in time and stopped Xiaojilan. Swish! 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 Energy danced and wreaked havoc in the air. Yu Mingyue questioned coldly as she attacked. Why? Why did you join Ghost Ride? Xiaojilan was expressionless and did not respond. This attitude made Pu Mingyue even more annoyed and even more ruthless in her attacks. Bam! 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 Shockwaves spread out, and as true energy collided, the two of them were locked in combat. Soon, Xiaojilan was no match for them and was forced to retreat. In the end, she spat out a mouthful of blood and flew backward, crashing to the ground and was left immobile. "T'll come to you later." With these words, Pu Mingyue flew towards the area where Yu Donglio's corpse was, to stop the Ghost Ride members from destroying the energy barrier. Boom! The air exploded. A giant palm imprint appeared in the air, heading for the back of the lanky man. Bang! The tall and thin man did not even raise his head. He only swung his saber behind him and shattered the palm imprint. Then, he slashed at Su Jingxing from a distance. The terrifying power of interfering with reality through the mind was almost tangible. Swoosh! A stretch of blinding blade light drowned Su Jingxing. Pooh! Su Jingxing exploded into a ball of chaotic aura and dissipated. A true energy manifestation. The true energy clone that had been condensed in time died in Su Jingxing's place. Boom. 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 In a flash, Su Jingxing continued to unleash palm strikes from a distance. Mobilizing 500 years of cultivation, he executed the air-splitting palm without stopping and attacked the lanky man from all directions. Together with Zhao Fengxian and Lu Wuchang's moves, the lanky man was caught off guard and was in a sorry state. But soon, he adjusted himself. Swoosh! Under the blinding blade light, Lu Wuchang was struck squarely, and the martial art true intent folded fan in his hand shattered. He flew backward and crashed to the ground, spitting out blood. Yo! You can't break through the energy barrier. Lu Wuchang, who was sprawled on the ground, shouted hoarsely. Humph! The tall and thin man snorted coldly from a distance and launched another slash at Lu Wuchang. The seemingly corporeal blade energy flew across the ground with a swish, leaving deep gouges in the ground. Lu Wuchang rolled to dodge the blade energy. You can't break through the energy barrier. He shouted at the top of his voice. Boom! 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 Su Jingxing increased the frequency of his attacks. Giant palm imprints covered the tall, thin man from afar. As he moved, he condensed his true energy manifestations to disrupt the lanky man's thoughts and push him to make wrong judgments. A first-grade expert had dense true essence, solidified martial art true intent, and surging soul power. All kinds of miraculous secret abilities and unique skills were released from time to time. As a third-grade martial artist, Su Jingxing did not dare to get too close. Disrupting him from a distance to tire him out was equally useful. At the very least, under Su Jingxing's harassment, the lanky man was stopped by Zhao Fengxian and could no longer divert his attention to attack the full moon in the air. But among the experts of Ghost Ride who were attacking the energy barrier, one of them was a second-grade expert. The other party had blocked Pu Mingyue's attack. Gu Zhanlin and Fan Qi were being held back by another opponent. Cracks began to appear on the energy barrier, and strange cracking sounds echoed in the underground space. No, it can't be broken, it can't be broken. When Lu Wuchang saw this, his body trembled and fear filled his eyes. It cannot be broken. Stop them. Boom. What answered him was a deafening bang. The lanky man was finally enraged and unleashed his ultimate move. With his long-handled saber and martial art true intent in hand, he suddenly manifested more than 10 figures. Each figure held a long saber in their hands and slashed ferociously like lightning. The hundreds of streaks of saber intents abruptly exploded with the blinding light. Like an intercontinental missile landing on the ground, the light and heat they emitted forced Su Jingxing back and Zhao Fengxian back. Black-red blood seeped out from the corner of the latter's mouth, and his pale face lost even more color. Roar! The tall and thin man roared. The dozen or so figures that he manifested did not dissipate. Instead, they turned around and continued to bombard the floating full moon. Bang! 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 The full moon flickered, and its light grew dimmer and dimmer. Crack! Crack! On the ground, more and more cracks appeared on the energy barrier around Yu Donglio's corpse. Su Jingxing landed from the air and steadied himself, preparing to circulate 800 years of true energy cultivation to stop him again. Bang! The energy barrier on the ground exploded. Boom! At the same time, the martial art true intent of the full moon in midair shattered as well, turning into countless specks of light that scattered to the ground. The motionless Yu Donglio's corpse slowly turned to dust and floated in the air. It's over. Lu Wuchang's eyes widened as he stared blankly at Yu Donglio's corpse. Huff, huff. Zhao Fengxian panted. Lying on the ground, his hair unconsciously stood on end. Danger. Extreme danger was emerging. At this moment, even without Lu Wuchang's reminder, Zhao Fengxian sensed a terrifying threat approaching quickly. As Yu Donglio's corpse dissipated, the entire underground space fell into silence. Nothing happened. However, the calm before the storm was even more frightening. Su Jingxing's heart was racing, and his eyelids were twitching non-stop. A crisis had arrived. Now that Yu Donglio's corpse had dissipated, the terrifying crisis had arrived. Ha ha ha. In the silent and oppressive atmosphere, the lanky man burst into laughter. Everyone! Are you ready? The treasures we've been waiting for are finally coming out. Ha ha ha. Crack. Accompanied with his laughter, the ground cracked. First, the first crack appeared in the area where Yu Donglio's corpse was sitting. It quickly expanded and spread in all directions. Crack. 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 With a series of crisp sounds, the ground cracked everywhere. Then, in the growing cracks, it began to collapse. Boom. Boom. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The sound of rapid wind echoed. Su Jingxing lifted Buqing, Pu Mingyue carried Lu Wuchang, while Gu Zhanlin and Fan Qi supported Zhao Fengxian. The group of 7 quickly left and flew towards the entrance. Before they reached the entrance, a violent, ancient, and tyrannical beast roar came from collapsing underground. Roar. The roar that pierced through metal and cracked stone was vast and mighty, materializing in the underground space. It was a sound wave that was visible to the naked eye. It surged up from the ground and spread in all directions, sweeping to every corner of the underground space. Everywhere it passed, the air clearly poured to the sides, revealing a large expanse of empty space. It swept all the way to the dome, to the 4 walls, to one's heart and soul. This terrifying beast roar actually had mental destructive power. Su Jingxing didn't know about the others, but he felt a sharp pain in his brain. Even though it quickly disappeared under the buffer of his powerful soul power, this sound wave attack still made his heart palpitate. He looked at Buqing, Gu Zhanlin, Fan Qi, Lu Wuchang, and the others and realized that they were indeed pale-faced and sweating. Working up a burst of energy, he led them to charge to the entrance of the 4th level and landed on the steps. Then, as he panted, recuperated, and stabilized his aura, he looked at the collapsed 5th level through the air and at the lumps of ice crystals that had appeared deep underground. In the top ranks, even if one did not have the abilities of distant vision and night vision, one could see the world with his martial art true intent and the wonderful effects of his true essence. Buqing, Pu Mingyue, Gu Zhanlin, and the others all had their own methods to stimulate their eyes and see through the darkness to see what the ice crystals deep underground were. Mutated beasts. The ice crystals were just big block of ices. The blood-colored mutated beasts inside them were the key. They were a type of hideous mutated beast that was more than 5 meters long, had a triangular head, a mouth full of tusks, black horns on its head, a tail like an ox's, and a body like a deer. Very similar to the legendary Qilin. However, they did not have the scales that covered the entire body like a Qilin. There were only layers of dark red blood membranes. Each of their 4 limbs had 5 claws, and these sharp claws were as sharp as chicken claws. They were full of bounce. In every block of ice was a blood-colored mutated beast. Deep underground, lumps of ice were densely packed. There were more than 1,000 of them. In other words, there were more than 1,000 of such mutated beasts that could release terrifying sound waves. At this moment, the blood-colored mutated beasts broke out from the ice one after another. They roared, snarled, or leaped into the air as they pounced at the tall and thin man and company floating in the air. Ha ha ha. The tall and thin man's excited laughter continued. It was especially ear-piercing in the terrifying sound waves. Come on, babies. Come out, all my babies. Amidst his laughter, a blood-colored seal that was more than 10 centimeters long appeared in his hand. He held it in his palm and infused his true energy into it, emitting a faint halo. The Blood-Seeker Seal. Blood-seeker beasts, they're blood-seeker beasts. On the steps leading to the entrance, Pu Mingyue stared at the blood-colored mutated beasts underground that were roaring and breaking free from the ice and the blood-colored seal in the lanky man's hand. She was pale as a sheet. What are blood-seeker beasts? Why are there so many of them? Auntying, Lu Wuchang asked anxiously, why do these things give me an extreme sense of danger? They feel even more terrifying than a national calamity. Su Jingxing was about to ask the same. Lu Wuchang beat him to it, so he swallowed his words. He only said in a low voice, this is not a legacy ground, but a seal location. Yes, we were all fooled. Yu Mingyue took a deep breath and said through gritted teeth. This is the place where the blood-seeker beasts are sealed. Back then, the Crimson Moon martial sage, Yu Donglu, used his own body to suppress these beasts. As for the blood-seeker beasts, Lu Wuchang, you must have heard of the existence of the ancient demons. Ancient demons? Lu Wuchang exclaimed, are you talking about some of the ancient monsters that existed on Earth Star in ancient times, THPSE, terrifying lifeforms from other worlds? Yes, it's them. Pu Mingyue said in a deep voice, blood-seeker beasts are the blood-seekers of the ancient demons. They are terrifying mutated beasts formed from their own blood essence. They are very difficult to kill. Even if they die, they can transform back into blood-seeker essence energy to be absorbed by their own kind to become even stronger. What's even more terrifying is that all blood-seeker beasts can become stronger by absorbing blood energy. As long as they absorb the blood of sentient living beings, they will become stronger. The blood of humans is most suitable. Not only do humans have sentience, there are also enough of us. As long as the population of a functional town is massacred by the blood-seeker beasts, the blood energy absorbed will be enough for any blood-seeker beast to reach the king level and become a beast king. What was the population of a functional town? 7,000 to 8,000 for a big population, or 2,000 for a small one. Let's take the average, 5,000. If more than 5,000 people died, they would become beast kings. If they were to barge into the city and massacre people everywhere, how many people would die? If the blood-seeker beasts then absorbed the diffused blood energy, what level would they reach? And how many blood-seeker beasts were there underground? There were more than 1,000 of them. Once these blood demons charged into Qinghe City, even if only half of them successfully advanced to the Beast King level, the consequences would be unimaginable. Pu Mingyue's words stunned the 7 people, including Zhao Fengxian. Everyone felt their scalps go numb, their backs turn cold, and chills ran down their spines. Ghost Ride knew that the blood-seeker beasts are sealed here. Therefore, they tried all means to get us to gather the legacy stone tablets, open the legacy underground palace, and enter this place. Then, they would break the final measure left behind by the Crimson Moon martial sage, Yu Donglu, destroy his physical body and break the seal. The blood-colored seal in their hands is called the Bloodseeker seal. It's rumored to have the ability to control the Bloodseeker beasts. The people of Ghost Ride don't want to release these Bloodseeker beasts. Instead, they want to control them for their use. Pu Mingyue added softly. The group of 7 fell silent. Su Jingxing was also silent. Understood. Now he understood everything. Ever since the first photo of the legacy stone tablet was exposed, Ghost Ride had been plotting this scene. Stirring up trouble everywhere, provoking all the factions in Qinghe City to rush around for the stone tablets, then charging into the martial suppression office and the prefecture army, forcing the 2 official factions to work together to open the legacy, the seal location, and explore the underground palace for them until they arrived at the 5th level. At the very end, they wanted to control the Bloodseeker's beast that broke out of the seal to attack Qinghe City. If the Bloodseeker beasts wanted to become stronger, they had to absorb enough blood energy. As for the deaths of thousands, tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands people, Ghost Ride wouldn't mind. This wasn't their first time doing such a thing. In ancient times, for the sake of the benefits obtained, Ghost Ride never minded massacring cities. Although the population of an ancient city was limited, ranging from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands. To this day, killing hundreds of thousands or even millions of people had no psychological burden on them. When they turn all the blood-seeker beasts into beast kings, even if a martial sage were to come, they would dare to go against him. No, we have to stop them. Gu Zhanlin came back to his senses and shouted anxiously, we can't let them control the blood. Buzz. The empty air suddenly surged. Ripples that were visible to the naked eye suddenly swept out upwards, downwards, left and right with the tall and thin man as the center. The dim underground space suddenly became brighter. The source of the light, the blood-seeker seal in the lanky man's hand automatically floated into the air for some reason. Swish. 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 Under the guidance of the strange energy, the blood-seeker seal spun continuously. At first glance, it looked like a giant light bulb. As it spun, it shot out beams of bright light that pierced through the darkness. But these strong beams of light lasted for less than 5 seconds before they began to flicker and then extinguish. Then, bam! There was a loud bang. The floating blood-seeker seal exploded with a loud bang, turning into a ball of white light that filled the underground space. These white lights seemed to be corporeal and spread to become terrifying rays of light. Everywhere they passed, protective true essence and martial art true intents were instantly penetrated. For this, the tall and thin man closest to it was the first to bear the brunt. The light penetrated his body, and his entire body was like a sieve, spurting out blood and falling to the ground like a porcupine. The other Ghost Ride members were also, to varying extents, pierced by the light, lost control, and collapsed. Su Jingxing and company, who were standing on the steps of the entrance, managed to escape the calamity by retreating into the passageway in time. After the light disappeared, they returned to the steps to check on the situation. They found that everyone from Ghost Ride had fallen into the ground and were fighting fiercely with the blood-seeker beasts that had escaped. As for the blood-seeker seal, it had already disappeared. What's going on? Asked Gu Zhanlin, stunned. The blood-seeker seal is fake, asked Lu Wuchang, his eyes shining as he looked at Pu Mingyue. Pu Mingyue was stunned. I don't know. To be honest, I can't confirm if the rumors about the blood-seeker seal are true. I've only read about it in the ancient books of the sect. As for the exact details, don't know what flaws and drawbacks this seal has. The few of them fell silent. The sudden explosion of the blood-seeker seal was unexpected for everyone. They had thought that the Ghost Ride was about to succeed, and would be able to control a terrifying power that even a martial sage would fear. In the end, it ended as soon as it started. This turn of events was both shocking and delightful. Delightful because despite the fact that Ghost Ride had exhausted all its schemes, in the end, they achieved nothing, and had even gotten themselves implicated. The explosion of the blood-seeker seal could have been due to this rare treasure being damaged after thousands of years. TT could also be that the tall and thin man had mismanaged the activation sequence. TT was more likely that the Crimson Moon martial sage, Yu Donglu, had deliberately left behind a backup plan. When he was alive, the great martial sage Yu had guessed that someone would break his seal and release the blood-seeker beasts for their own use. Therefore, he had tampered with the blood-seeker seal. Once true energy was injected to activate it, it would explode. The final possibility was quite likely. Of course. Following the self-destruction of the blood-seeker seal, these possibilities were no longer important. Ghost Ride's plan failed. Everyone fell into the ground and were fighting it out with the blood-seeker beasts. It was still unknown whether they could kill their way out and escape. To Su Jingxing, Pu Mingyue, and the others, this outcome was exactly what they wanted. Man proposes, God disposes. Gu Zhanlin took a deep breath and shouted, let's go. We have to leave this place first and intercept the bloodseeker beasts outside. We can't let these ferocious creatures out of the underground palace. Let's go. Zhao Fengxian growled and motioned for Fan Qi to carry him away. Ghost Ride's plan had failed, but the threat of the bloodseeker beasts remained. Once these ancient ferocious creatures escaped the underground palace, they could similarly cause countless casualties. Immediately, the 7 of them turned around and hurried back through the passageway. When they returned to the 4th level, they were surprised to find that the dome of the originally empty space of the 4th level had lit up with light. Drawings had appeared on it. They were about how to stop the bloodseeker beasts and trap them in the underground palace. It's you, Dong Lu. Martial Sage, you left behind a backup plan. Pu Mingyue shouted happily as she dashed over and looked up at the dome. Yu Donglu was too suave. Because of the bloodseeker beasts, he had considered everything. His noble character had it that people would sincerely address him as Martial Sage. I see. So there is such a operation method for the dragon-slaying platform. Zhao Fengxian looked at the dome and murmured. Martial Sage Yu is worthy of admiration. Unfortunately, we can only trap the bloodseeker beasts in the underground palace for 2 hours. Gu Zhanlin looked up at the dome and shouted indignantly. Where are we going to find so many experts to stop the bloodseeker beasts in 2 hours? Lu Wuchang gritted his teeth. The reason why the drawings on the 4th level's dome had appeared was mostly because they were activated after the seal was broken. Yu Donglu had made all kinds of preparations. When they entered, there were 3 checkpoints stopping them. When they left, with the guide of the drawings, they could temporarily close the dragon-slaying platform on the 3rd level and reopen it to intercept the bloodseeker beasts. This huge underground palace could even turn into a cage and trap the beasts for 2 hours. The roar of the bloodseeker beasts penetrated straight into one's soul. If one was not in the 4th grade and had true fluid to nourish the soul, it would be impossible to resist. Therefore, to intercept the bloodseeker beasts, one had to be at least in the 4th grade. In 2 hours, where could they find hundreds of 4th grade martial artists? There were perhaps a total of 300 4th grade martial artists in the entire Changyang prefecture. The problem was that the cities these people were in were too far away. Only those in the nearest Qinghe City and Treasure Elephant City could arrive in time. But how could there be so many 4th grade martial artists in Qinghe City and Treasure Elephant City? Wait. Su Jingxing suddenly realized that there were more than 100 experts in the 4th grade and above nearby. Sigh. Gu Zhanlin sighed. As he rushed on, he sighed. If only we could reconstruct the Flying Lion Ring. Back then, the Flying Lion army of the Rising Dragon Saber King, Lu Chenglong, had 108 experts who were minimally the 4th grade. Their seal location isn't that far away from here. If we can awaken them, we'll have more than 100 helpers to stop the bloodseeker beasts. Unfortunately, I only have half of the Flying Lion Ring. I don't even know where the other half is. I have it, interrupted Su Jingxing in a low voice. Qi. Gu Zhanlin stopped abruptly. The inertia caused his feet to rub against the ground, producing sparks and leaving a clear mark. Su Jingxing, who was already prepared, stopped steadily. Pu Mingyue, Zhao Fengxian, Lu Wuchang, Fan Qi, and Bu Qing also followed. They put some distance between them and stood on the ground, looking at Su Jingxing in shock. Gu Zhanlin's lips trembled as he asked, What did you just say? I have the other half of the Flying Lion Ring. Su Jingxing replied calmly. Gulp. Gu Zhanlin swallowed his saliva and suppressed his excitement. His voice trembled with excitement. In other words, we can immediately reconstruct the Flying Lion Ring and go to the seal location to awaken the Flying Lion Army? Yes. There were some things that Su Jingxing could ignore. Yet some things couldn't be ignored. The bloodseeker beasts was one of them. If their interception failed, such a terrifying mutated beast would rush out of the Green Cloud Mountain range. The destruction of Qinghe City and Treasure Elephant City would only be the beginning. The Chanyang Prefecture and the entire Yu nation would fall. The final number of casualties would definitely in the hundreds of millions. Putting aside the fact that Su Jingxing had sworn an oath with his heart and soul to protect the Yu nation for 10 years, even if he hadn't taken the oath, he didn't want to see such a tragic scene. Therefore, Su Jingxing was willing to offer up his half of the Flying Lion Ring. To reassemble the Flying Lion Ring and awaken the Flying Lion Army. Good, good. Gu Zhanlin took a deep breath and said excitedly, let's go to the seal location of the Flying Lion Army and wake them up. With the addition of 108 Flying Lions, we should be able to temporarily stop the Bloodseeker beasts from charging out of Green Cloud Mountain. Not enough. Zhao Fengxian's face was pale. Stopping them is not enough. We can't kill the Bloodseeker beasts. We can only seal them. We have to think of a way to seal them again. The 100-Flower Valley has an array formation, the 9 Lotus 8 Trigrams array. It's a trapping array. A conservative estimate of the duration it can trap the Bloodseeker beasts would be 1 to 5 years. Pu Mingyue quickly added, with this buffer of at least a year, it's enough for us to slowly think of a way to reseal them again. This is not bad. Fan Qi nodded. Let's talk as we move. Hearing this, everyone resumed their running. Whoosh! 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 The sound of rushing wind sounded, creating a whirlwind. Soon, a group of 7 people rushed out of the 4th level and came to the 3rd level. According to the drawing seen on the dome of the 4th level, they found a mechanism on the wall at the entrance of the dragon-slaying platform and stopped its operations. After the group passed through the dragon-slaying platform and arrived at the other side, they continued to search for more mechanisms. After finding it, they would reactivate the dragon-slaying platform to operate the other way round. In other words, after coming up from the 4th level, be it the members of Ghost Ride or the Bloodseeker beasts, they would have to feed the dragon-slaying platform for it to remember the aura of their life form before they could pass through. This move was actually to guard against the members of Ghost Ride. Once a Bloodseeker beast died, the other beasts around it would become even stronger after absorbing its blood energy. The encirclement of the dragon-slaying platform would strengthen them. If it was not to stop the members of Ghost Ride from escaping and continuing to destroy the underground palace and even obstruct the setup of the trapping array formation, Zhao Fengxian and Gu Zhanlin would not have wanted to do so. Compared to the Bloodseeker beasts that had yet to become Beast Kings, even though they were violent and manic, the members of Ghost Ride were more destructive. At the very least, before the Bloodseeker beasts become Beast Kings, they could not fly in the sky. Therefore, in order to reduce any accidents, Zhao Fengxian decisively cut off Ghost Ride's escape route and adjusted the dragon-slaying platform to operate in the opposite direction. After that, the group continued to rush. When they returned to the 2nd level and rushed out of the central hall, they saw Wang Taidao, Li Linzhou, Li Chuanjin, and the others, who were waiting outside. Master, there was a group of people who broke into the 3rd level. They were very fast, and had already entered the hall when we realized it, reported Wang Taidao as she received Pu Mingyue. They won't be able to come out. Gu Zhanlin sneered coldly, those bastards have already died inside. Even if they do come out, there won't be many of them left. What do you mean? Li Linzhou was puzzled. This isn't the place to talk. Let's get to the entrance of the underground palace and head to the surface. Anyway, let's leave first. Gu Zhanlin interrupted and called for Fan Qi to support Zhao Fengxian out. Pu Mingyue also called for Wang Taidao, Li Linzhou, and the others to follow. They were very fast. After everyone left the underground palace, Gu Zhanlin, Bu Qing, and the others searched for mechanisms on the walls on both sides of the entrance again. After finding them, they decisively closed the doors of the underground palace again. Dong! A heavy sound echoed in the cave. Only then did Gu Zhanlin, Pu Mingyue, Bu Qing, and the others heave a sigh of relief and slow down slightly. What went on down there? Who obtained the legacy? Li Chuanzhen couldn't help but ask. The legacy is fake. Gu Zhanlin gritted his teeth. There are only thousands of blood-seeker beasts sealed in the depths of the underground palace. Blood-seeker beasts? What blood-seeker beasts? Li Chuanzhen was puzzled. Wang Taidao, Li Linzhou, and the rest were also puzzled. Let old Fan talk to you. Gu Zhanlin did not answer. Instead, he called out to Su Jingxing and shouted, "Brotherly, let's go, we'll head to the seal location." All right. Su Jingxing nodded. With a tap of their toes, the two of them soared into the sky and rushed into the horizon. Huh? Li Chuanzhen was even more puzzled as he watched the two of them disappear. The blood-seeker beasts are, Fan Qi explained to the group. Meanwhile, Pu Mingyue frowned and asked, to set up the 9 Lotus 8 trigrams array, I need a rare treasure or spirit weapon of the wood attribute. I don't have any. General Zhao, does your prefecture army have any? After hearing what a blood-seeker beast was and knowing the dangers of such a terrifying mutated beast, everyone was moved. Most of them were from Qinghe City. Once the blood-seeker beasts broke out of Green Cloud Mountain and invaded Qinghe City, their relatives and friends would be greatly threatened. Heavens knows how many people would die. Faced with such a frightening catastrophe that could possibly break out, no one retreated. Including Huang Xinghai. The old man decisively stayed behind after hearing about the dangers of the blood-seeker beasts. Even if he really wanted to retreat, this was not the time to do so. After all, couldn't the underground palace hold for 2 hours? Therefore, everyone got moving. Under Pu Mingyue's command, they rushed to the surface and dispersed, heading towards the surroundings of the valley. They would find the 9 nodes for the array formation and complete the arrangements for the earlier stage. This large group of people who had come to explore the underground palace were divided into 3 groups and each took their own missions. Su Jingxing and Gu Zhanlin flew straight to the seal location of the Flying Lion Army. Soon, the two of them arrived above the mist-covered lake. Gu Zhanlin took out half of the Flying Lion ring. Seeing this, Su Jingxing also reached into his pocket and took out the other half of the Flying Lion ring from his palm space. The 2 halves of the Flying Lion ring were first put together before they were slowly rotated to find the connection point. The moment the reassembly was completed. Whoosh! Area of white light shot out from the ring and spread in all directions. The complete version of the Flying Lion ring seemed to come alive as it flapped its wings gently. The array formation on the lake is said to be very easy to break with this. Gu Zhanlin said slowly as he landed on the surface of the lake with the complete Flying Lion ring in hand. No reaction. The Flying Lion ring remained motionless. Nothing happened. The huge lake was also silent. Through the thin mist, they saw that the Flying Lion army inside the lake was also unmoving. Perhaps we need to infuse true energy, suggested Su Jingxing. Let's give it a try. Gu Zhanlin circulated his true energy and infused it into the Flying Lion ring. As expected, the Flying Lion ring reacted. The wings flapped faster at first, then the lion opened its mouth and let out a silent roar. Buzz! An invisible aura surged in the air and spread across the lake. Wherever it passed, the mist rolled and dissipated bit by bit. The dozen mountains connected to the lake shook slightly at this moment. Su Jingxing acutely sensed that the massive aura that enveloped more than the dozens mountains and even the lake was gradually weakening with the silent roar from the lion's mouth. Gu Zhanlin continued to infuse true energy into the ring, and the soundless roar became louder and stronger. In the end, the massive aura that enveloped the surrounding mountains and lake completely disappeared. The mist on the lake also dissipated completely. The array formation was gone. Done. Gu Zhanlin shifted his palm to make sure that the changes in the flying lion ring had stopped and immediately looked down at the center of the lake. Su Jingxing also looked down at the 108 figures standing inside the lake. These figures were wrapped in a unique energy membrane that isolated them from the corrosion of the waters. At this moment, blue light appeared on the surface of the bodies of the 108 figures. Swish! Swish! Wisps of dim light flickered endlessly like phantoms. Soon, Su Jingxing heard a heartbeat. Ba-dump. Then the second, third, fourth. One heartbeat after another came from the lake, echoing in his ears. Even though they were weak at the beginning, they quickly returned to normal. They're awake. Gu Zhanlin also heard this. He immediately controlled his body and flew away from the lake. Swish! Su Jingxing followed behind. They flew to the small slope and looked at the surface of the entire lake. Bubbles began to appear. The bubbles that kept popping up from the bottom of the lake rose and burst. Until... whoosh! Accompanied by a large splash that shot into the sky, a figure suddenly leaped out of the water. Its aura rose continuously, causing ripples in the air. Third grade, no, second grade. Gu Zhanlin's pupils constricted. He looked at the tall man who had charged out of the water with surprise in his eyes. He has been in a deep sleep for more than 400 years. He actually recovered so quickly once he woke up. There were a total of 108 members in the Flying Lion Army. Among them, 100 were in the 4th grade, 5 were in the 3rd grade, and 3 were in the 2nd grade. The first person to emerge from the water was a 2nd grade martial artist. Although this was expected, he was still a little surprised. It was mainly because he had recovered too quickly. The self-imposed seal of the Flying Lion Army sealed their consciousness, and Dantian along with their bodies. After unlocking the seal, they would have to recover bit by bit. They had to adjust to the true energy circulating in their Dantian again. That he had recovered so quickly, it could only be said that the tall man who soared into the sky was very impressive. You are the ones who awakened us. The tall man had strong facial features and an extraordinary aura. He scanned his surroundings and his gaze landed on Su Jingxing and Gu Zhanlin. He asked in a deep voice, which year of the Yu nation is it today? Or rather, has the Yu nation already fallen? Gu Zhanlin was stunned. Then, he quickly explained, well, the Yu nation hasn't fallen yet. It's been more than 400 years since you went into hibernation, General. I'm the commander of the Changyang Prefecture. Army, Gu Zhanlin. We awakened you because we encountered a major incident that is endangering the world. We need your help. The Bloodseeker beast, a terrifying mutated beast evolved from the ancient Bloodseeker beasts using their own blood. In a valley not far from here, there is a group of more than 1,000 Bloodseeker beasts. Awakening from 1,000 years of seal. Once they escape the Green Cloud Mountain, the 2 nearby cities will be annihilated. The lives of tens of millions of people in the cities will become the food of the Bloodseeker beasts. Once the Bloodseeker beasts absorbs too much blood energy, they will transform into beast kings. If more than 1,000 beast kings are really born, then all life on this land will die. Although this is offensive, I still implore General to help us intercept the Bloodseeker beasts and complete the 9 Lotus 8 trigrams array to temporarily trap them in the valley. With that, Gu Zhanlin bowed down to the tall man. Su Jingxing also lowered his head slightly. This matter was urgent and could not be delayed. Convincing the Flying Lion Army to join them was crucial. If the Flying Lion Army refused to help, then we can help. The tall man replied in a deep voice, but all of you must remember that we are not doing this for the Yu nation, the Xia family, or even the Qin family. We are doing this for the common people at the bottom rungs. The common people are innocent and should not bear the consequences of your mistakes. Gu Zhanlin laughed dryly, but did not dare to say anything else. He hurriedly nodded and replied, "Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much, General." Swish. Swish. At the right time, the lake water rose, raising splashes in the air. One after another, figures rose from the center of the lake into the air. 400 years later, the 108 flying lions had been gathered again. The tall man faced everyone and explained the reason for the awakening. Then, he announced the upcoming operation. Stop the blood-seeker beasts. Before mobilizing, morale must be boosted. Seeing this, while feeling excited, Gu Zhanlin also sighed. Su Jingxing took in his expressions and chuckled inwardly. Gu Zhanlin's initial goal in searching for the Flying Lion Ring was to recruit the Flying Lion Army into the Changyang Prefecture Army. Unexpectedly, the Flying Lion Army did not have a good impression of the Yu nation at all. In fact, they were rather repulsed by it. Previously, Su Jingxing had heard the third-grade expert from the Qin family who had arrived in Qinghe City reveal some secrets. There was a grudge between Qin family and Lu Chenglong. In the end, after hearing this tall man's words, he realized that not only did Lu Chenglong have a grudge with the Qin family, he also had some conflicts with the imperial Xia family. Although Lu Chenglong had asked Su Jingxing to swear an oath to protect the Yu nation, the people he was truly guard were the common people. The Flying Lion Army was Lu Chenglong's trusted subordinates when he was alive. They were the most representative of Lu Chenglong and would never make up lies. As such, Lu Chenglong's situation back then was probably extremely tricky. Even the reason why the Flying Lion Army chose to seal themselves was probably not very pleasant. No matter what, reinforcements had finally arrived. After the 108 members of the Flying Lion Army were gathered, they immediately followed Gu Zhanlin and Su Jingxing back to the depths of the Green Cloud mountain range. Back in the valley, they had just landed when the ground suddenly trembled. The lingering sound of a stifled roar came from underground. The blood-seeker beasts are coming up. Boom! The ground shook violently. Accompanying the suppressed roars in the underground palace, the entire valley was trembling. Crack! Crack! The ground split open. With the entrance of the underground palace as the center, thick cracks quickly formed. Hoo hoo hoo! Dust filled the air, spread and swirled in the sky. Bam! A loud bang resounded through the sky and ground. Buzz! Amidst the trembling, the ground of almost the entire valley shattered, and extensive collapse occurred. Dust billowed and filled the sky. Boom! 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 The sounds from the blood-seeker beasts ramming against the underground palace came from underground and soared into the sky. The shockwave produced by this burst dispersed the dust and revealed a clear hole. In the large cave, a complete outline of the upper half of the underground palace was exposed under the blue sky. Boom! Boom! Loud bangs resounded incessantly. Muffled roars coupled amongst them echoed through the air. Wave after wave of shockwaves continued. In midair, Su Jingxing, Gu Zhanlin, and the others were ready for battle. Looking at this impact, the underground palace probably won't be able to trap them for 2 hours, Huang Xinghai commented with a solemn expression, frowning. Head Mingyue's array formation hasn't been completed yet. Once the underground palace gives in, we'll have to go first, said Lu Wuchang. General Zhao's would attribute treasure hasn't been delivered yet. I don't know how long it will take to complete the array formation. I think everyone should be prepared to make a move, said Bu Qing through gritted teeth. That's no problem. But are you sure we can't kill the blood-seeker beasts? The person who spoke was a thin middle-aged man wearing an ancient-style battle robe. General Xiao, you might not know this, but the structure of a blood-seeker beast is very special. They do not have hearts. No, to be precise, they do not have internal organs. Including bones and brain, everything was evolved from the essence of the blood-seeker. On a hill not far away, Pu Mingyue, who was presiding over the early stage setup of the 9 Lotus 8 trigrams array, spoke in a clear voice that resounded in everyone's ears. Due to their unique structure, we can't kill the blood-seeker beasts with ordinary methods. Even if there is only one and it turns back into blood-seeker essence energy after death, it will still be able to absorb blood energy. As long as it is given enough time to absorb enough blood energy, it will be reconstruct to form a new blood-seeker beasts. Most importantly, the blood-seeker essence energy will automatically search for life forms to invade. For example, once we humans allow the blood-seeker essence energy to enter our bodies, while martial artists who cultivate true energy will be fine as they can control their true energy to resist it. 99% of the lower-ranked martial artists and ordinary people without true energy will be corroded by the blood-seeker essence energy. From their physical bodies to their souls, they will mutate and in the end, they will become a new blood-seeker beast. Silence. Everyone in the air fell silent. They were both shocked and in disbelief. No wonder Marshal Seiju chose to seal them away. After a while, Gu Zhanlin came back to his senses and sighed. Is there no way to deal with this blood-seeker essence energy? It can only be sealed, asked Bu Qin with a frown. There is. Pu Mingyue's clear voice sounded again. In ancient times, even blood-seekers could be killed, let alone the blood-seeker essence energy. To deal with blood-seeker essence energy other than sealing it, the other way is to refine it. Legend has it that in ancient times, there were some special ultimate techniques and secret techniques that could be used to refine the blood-seeker essence energy. The problem is that most of these ultimate techniques have been lost, and few people know about them. For example, the 100-Flower Valley only knows about the existence of the blood-seeker beasts and some related information about the blood-seeker beasts and other ancient demons. But there are no records of how to deal with them. That's already very good, said Lu Wuchang with a sigh. However, if we take care of the blood-seeker beasts one by one, turning them back into blood-seeker essence energy and store it in sealed alloy containers, will that also have the effect of eternal sealing? You kill a blood-seeker beast by extracting its vital energy and absorb a mass of the essence energy, and sealing it in an alloy container before burying it in a hidden place. Gu Zhanlin was puzzled. Yes. Lu Wuchang's eyes were bright. This way, the blood-seeker essence energy won't be able to invade living beings. And they can dream on about turning back into a blood-seeker beast. Good suggestion. Su Jingxing said coolly, let's this idea aside, and not talk about whether it can be achieved. If it can really be done, the question is, how can you guarantee that these containers that hold the blood-seeker essence energy won't fall into the hands of ambitious people and conspirators? Well, Lu Wuchang was speechless. That's right, there was no lack of conspirators and ambitious schemers at any time. Ghost Ride was the best example. Who could guarantee its stability after they turned the blood-seeker beasts into balls of blood-seeker essence energy and locked them in fixed containers? Though sealing the blood-seeker beasts could not keep them away from the schemes of conspirators as well. The seal was extremely powerful. It was not something that could be broken in a short period of time or by a few people. It required a cautious organization to plan for a long time before taking action. Even if they did, they might not succeed. Yu Donglu had used his own physical body to suppress the seal. Had it not been for the fact that more than half of his strength had dissipated after 1,000 years, it would have been impossible for Ghost Ride to break through the seal with the attacks of a few top-ranked martial artists. Therefore, Lu Wuchang's idea could only remain an idea. It was almost impossible to achieve. No matter what, let's trap the blood-seeker beasts first, said Huang Xinghai in a low voice. That's right. Gu Zhanli nodded and looked at the rest. We'll have to trouble the generals when the blood-seeker beasts come out later. There's no need to speak further about this. Since we've already agreed, we'll naturally hold on until the end. The tall man who was the first to wake up and rush out of the water said in a low voice. Yes, yes. I naturally believe General Wan's words. Gu Zhanlin smiled. As one of the 3 second-grade experts of the Flying Lion Army, the tall man's name was Wan Sansi. The 2 others were a thin middle-aged man named Xiao Yuanfang. And a woman with a cold demeanor with a veil on her face. Her name was Zhou Leng. When Lu Chenglong was still alive, the 3 of them were generals under the command of the rising dragon Saber King. 400 years after sealing themselves, they had come back to life. For now, their tones remained polite and refined. This was especially so for Wan Sansi. He was the most inflexible and seemingly the strongest. However, his behavior and actions were extremely strict. He was very rigid and had no smile on his face. TT would be difficult to even share a few words with him, let alone joke around. Looking at him, Gu Zhanlin's plan completely dissipated. Boom! A loud explosion interrupted the discussion. Everyone immediately turned to look in the direction of the sound. The northwestern corner of upper half of the underground palace that had been exposed suddenly shattered, revealing a hole. Whoosh! The moment the hole appeared, a disheveled figure emerged from within and soared into the sky. It's him.